Hello. Today's question is, does success make you happy? I think it's what does success really feel like, and does it actually make you happy? And I love this question. Like, it's really making me go hum. And y'all, because of my perfectionist tendencies, I'm not creating notes for these episodes. We just talking, okay? Because I want you to feel like we just at somebody's bar drinking some Sir Davis or a mimosa, and we're having a conversation. So these are real, like, off the cuff. So what does it feel like to succeed, and does it really make you happy, right? Because people, we see it on the movies, TVs, Instagram, right? Like, people like, I did this thing and I did this thing and look at me, I'm so happy. We see their curated photo shoots and the smiles they put on there. But does it really make you feel happy? I don't know. I'm just going to speak my truth and tell you no. Like, my short answer is no. But let me explain. The reason why it's a no, when I think about myself, when I think about my clients, most of the time people don't know they're successful. Like, hear me out. I want you to think back to your last graduation. Like, you knew it was graduation, but did it feel like graduation? Or you got that promotion, that new title, or you negotiated a package for that new job. You know that you were doing it, you were going through the steps, but did it feel like you were doing it? Because that's what I'm naming here. Most people don't feel like the thing that they've accomplished. A lot of my doctoral clients, right? I tell them all the time, the reason why we celebrate every week is so that they can practice knowing what it looks like, what it feels like to celebrate accomplishments. And when you're celebrating them on a week-to-week basis, these are small wins, right? Maybe you wanted to wake up at 7 o'clock 3 days this week and you did it for 4. You wanted to finish that last chapter by Friday and you did it by Friday at 11:59. It's these micro wins that I have them celebrate every week because I want them to know what it looks like to name a thing, to say, I did this. And to, sorry, y'all, my phone is ringing. To be able to look like I did this, and this is what it means to acknowledge that I did it. Because we first got to build up the muscles of acknowledging a thing. Once we can acknowledge it, then we can be like, oh, how do I feel about that I did it? Because most of the time, and if you're in my world, I'm sure you can relate to this. Most of the time when you achieve the thing, right, you're like, and you say, I did this, it's this voice that's like, but did I really? Does it count? Like, is it real? Are we sure I did it? Another thing that I hear often, and if I look back, I would say is true to a certain extent for me, is when we do get to the finish line of whatever the goal is, it's not happiness as it is relief. Like, you feel relief. You feel relief that you did it because, like, whether it's business, whether it's, like a health goal, like the dissertation, like, people just feel like there's so much external pressure, so much high expectations that other people have about them, that they feel like, oh, I'm just relieved that I, like, met those expectations. And so, like, for me, family, friends are like, oh, you're smart. Of course you'll do good at school. Like, it was like this given that, of course, I will finish the PhD program. Of course I could do that. I'm smart. I'm always reading. And I would tell people all the time, like, getting a PhD has nothing to do with you being smart. Like, for real. I'm so serious. It has nothing to do with you being smart. It has everything to do with, can you follow instructions and can you do the same thing over and over for a long period of time? Just like most goals. But it doesn't, people don't care that you're smart in a PhD program. They care, do you have an argument? And can you back up your argument? Can you back up what you believe in? That's how I would describe a PhD. And I would try to explain that to my family when I would call home, to be like, I'm struggling and I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And they would just be like, oh, you could do it. On the surface, I believe they intended that to be supportive, like, oh, we believe in you, of course. How it felt on the other end was, you're not hearing me and you're just putting more pressure on me than you're actually supporting me. Because you just assume, because I'm so smart, that then that just means I could do it. Like I don't ever struggle. Then it means like you don't see me. And so then it just feels like being surrounded by pressure, even from the people you're like, you're supposed to be on my side. It's like it's even more pressure to succeed, but no support in that pressure. And so getting to graduation, then it means, okay, I did what everybody just assumed that I could do, because they didn't know. They didn't know that that's not who I am. They don't know that they got this whole different view of who I really am, right? That's what imposter syndrome is. It's like, I'm going to get found out that I'm really not as smart. I'm really not as capable. I'm not as good as school as I thought I was. They're going to find me out. And when I got to graduation, there was this sense of relief of I didn't get found out. Maybe you're feeling that way right now in business, where it's like this, you told everybody you wanted to start a business. Maybe people are starting to see your posts online, like they start to see your TikToks and they starting to see your Instagram, right? They starting to see you put yourself out there, and it could come with this like pressure of, oh, look at them, their little business. Look at them. I see your little posts. You know how people say that with that tone that's like, it's shady, but they said it with a smile. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, oh, your little business. Oh, I see you. And it feels, at least for me, right? Let me talk about me. It could feel like exposing. Like, I I remember like a couple of years ago, I'd be dead ass be like, you listen to my podcast. Oh, I forget that people listen. Y'all, because I just got so used to being like, nobody's listening to this. I'm gonna just go to my closet with my little earbuds that came with the iPhone, and I'm just gonna record this episode. And I just got so used to being like, I'm just doing what the people told me. I show up every day, I release the episode, and then I go away. And then when people started being like, no, I listen, I'm like, what do you mean? You listen? You listen? They're like, isn't that what it's for? I'm like, I mean, yes. But I'm not used to people saying they listen. So that's another layer of what success feels like. You think it's a trick. I'm like, you listen. Okay. I didn't lost my train of thought, y'all. Anyway, so people say that, right? And it can come with this pressure, right, of showing up. That's what I was saying on social media. Like, oh, I'm watching. She's now you're like, all these people are watching me. One of the hardest things I would say for business is this: you realize that you're being perceived. And then you realize you have a deep fear of being perceived. Don't even throw no nerd spiciness on top of that. Okay, that fear of being perceived gets magnified. And so success then becomes relief, because you're like, oh, they saw me and they didn't find out that I was a fraud, that I really am. I tricked them again. I got away with it again. A client that I have will always be like, I'm a scammer. Like, that's her thing of like, I'm a scammer. I'm scamming these people. I'm like, how is it a scam when we got real evidence in black and white that these are your skills, these are your gifts, that you are helping people? She's like, nope, it's a scam. Right? But that's just another flavor, another way of saying imposter syndrome. This is also making me think about Anita, if you're listening. She's like, I don't believe in imposter syndrome. I just believe people made that up. And I just so tickled. She's like, I do not believe in imposter syndrome. I'm like, so you don't have it? She's like, no. I'm like, I'm so tickled that you can't even fathom in your head that there are some people who believe that they're a fraud, even though they're not. She's like, yeah, because you either are or you're not. I'm like, yes. She's a Libra, though, and y'all know how much I love me a Libra. And that's one of the reasons why I love all air signs, because they have some hint of like, they don't understand, like the empathy is not in the room with us. And they'll say something like, I don't believe in imposter syndrome. What? Air. Anyway, so you just might feel relief that you were not found out, that you lived another day to trick the people. So I would say, for the most part, that's what is success. You don't know that you achieved it, and you don't know what else. You don't know. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. You don't know that you achieved it until maybe months later. You look back on it and you're like, oh, I did do that thing. But in the moment, you don't know. So then, does it make you happy? I would say no, because you don't even know that you're doing it. What I will say that I have found, Joy, why I keep going after quote unquote success is because I like the process. So for me, the goal, whether it's $100,000, a new client, graduation, the goal feels so abstract that I don't even know what that's going to feel like. I just know I want to go toward in that direction. Like, that's how I personally think about it. I'm like, I just know. So right now, my goal is $1,000,000. I'm like, I just know that I'm going in a direction, but I don't know what it's like to have $1,000,000 in a year. I don't really know. Do you know? I mean, maybe some of you know who listening, but I'm like, I don't know. But I'm going in that direction. I like the journey of it all. Like, one of my favorite things about movies and TV shows is that montage that they show of the people getting together and doing the training and preparing. Right. I love that. I love watching people, like, some of my favorite content to watch, like on YouTube or Instagram, is people doing the same thing over and over, like waking up at 5 o'clock and they hit the gym. Like, they have their same routine. They do it over and over. Other people get bored. I'm like, do it again. You can't do it enough. Like, I remember I used to love back when daily vlogging was a thing, and the families before we found out how toxic they were. But one of my favorite YouTuber families, they posted every single day. Every single day. And they would show like the behind the scenes of what it took to record the content that day and edit it that night. Like, I think about a Casey Neistat, if you are familiar with the YouTube world. His level of like dedication and quality of producing content, loved it. I can watch it over and over. That is what, for me, if I'm able to master a routine that feels incredibly challenging, that most people would think is, one, boring, but two, over, like, why are you doing the most? Like, to me, I'm like, yes, that is when I feel the happiest, when I am pushing myself to learn new skills, seeing how far I can like push my ability to get things done in a certain amount of time, seeing how much can I produce in this. Like, if I said I'm going to work from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., how much can I produce in that 2-hour period? I think, and I'm going to take a little side quest for a minute. Following me, people think that I'm telling them not to work, because I'm like, you can do this. Like, you can become a doctor in 10 hours and you can get K business in 10 hours a week. And I stand 10 toes down on both of those statements. But I think when people hear that, they think I'm saying don't work. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 friend. You're going to work. You're gonna learn how to work. Like, you think you know how to work? You don't. I'm about to show you. But when you learn how to work, what you will also learn is that you don't need that much time. So, especially for what most people are doing, you don't need that much time. Like, you will learn that you spend more time overthinking and procrastinating and entertaining your excuses than you actually do in producing results. One of my things going into 2025 is I'm be more vocal about this, because I think people got it twisted following me. They think, I don't know what they think. It ain't my business. When I say you're doing something in 10 hours, I'm saying that is 10 hours of work, 10 hours of producing results. If you want your freedom, like you want to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the week, and you don't want to be doing business things, then you have to learn how to work. You have to learn how to produce. Not so that you can do it 24/7, so that you can do it. If you say you got 10 hours a week to work, then you need to work in those 10 hours so that you can fully enjoy. Because what's the point of saying like, oh, I got a 10-hour or 20-hour schedule a week, but when you're on your quote unquote off time, are you doing is stressing out and worrying that you didn't do the things that you were supposed to do? So let me end that side quest, but just know I'm coming back. But that's what I love, y'all. Like, you're going to hear me talk. And if you've been a client, you know how much I love me some James Clear. Okay. I love that bald white man. Okay. Because he wrote a beautiful book. Like, this book needs to win all the awards if it hasn't. This book is a textbook of textbooks of textbooks. If you want to learn how to set your environment and yourself up for success, you need to read that book. Like, I read it at least once a year, if not more. I love me some Atomic Habits, because for me, that is what I what I define as successful. That's what makes me happy. It makes me happy to do those things. As a little kid, I would create stories and write books and workbooks and come up with all sorts of things because I love the process of it. People today will make the comment, like I have a friend who's like, you could take a break. And I'm like, to do what? Like, let's talk about it. Like, well, why would you like for me to take a break? She's like, well, you just been working a lot. I'm like, I love it. You may not love your work, but I love my work. She's like, yeah, but there's more. I'm like, okay, tell me. She's like, well, you can watch TV. And I'm like, I've watched enough TV for a lifetime. Okay. As a little kid, I was forced to watch hours and hours and hours of TV and movies that were boring, lackluster. The plot, wet plot. Storylines, we're talking Tyler Perry. Okay. Where I come from, I was forced to watch it. I couldn't do nothing else. Okay. I had to beg for hours and hours for somebody to take me to a library to get a book. We didn't have the internet. Okay. I'm just feeling like back in my day, we did not have the internet. I read and reread the same books over and over. I was so bored. I felt like people did not have the conversations my brain was looking for. I was a sponge of sponges. And I just felt incredibly bored. And I just remember promising myself, like, one day, girl, you won't have to sit here and watch this. You won't have to sit here and be bored. You're going to find the things and you're going to be able to do everything you want to do. And now that I'm that person, I do not want to sit there watching TV. That's no shade to anybody who wants to watch TV or who loves TV and movies. I still love movies, but I do not want to spend every day doing that. When I am working, 99% of the time, I'm just like, I love it. I get frustrated that there's not more hours in the day. I get frustrated. Right. And if it's not work towards the business, it's me training for this half marathon. Okay, love it. I hate getting up and going. I hate getting dressed. I hate the whole process leading up to it. But the moment I'm out there and I'm like 1 mile, 2 miles, I'm at 6 miles. Who this? Sorry, y'all. That's my alarm to go take Surf for a walk. But I'm like, what? I'm running. Love it. I love it. I love seeing how I went from not being able to walk for 5 minutes to now I'm running 6 miles. Like, I love the process of getting there. I love the hating it. I love getting out there. I love learning, like watching videos and studying run techniques. I love it. Everything that I'm doing, I love. And I think that is what's missing from people around me who look at me, because they are judging the amount that I do with the amount they do, because a lot of what they're doing, they don't want to do. They hate it. They're doing it because they're trying to get people to perceive them a certain way. For instance, like a lot of doc students, I will ask them, like, why do you want to be a doctor? Why would you put yourself through this? What are these letters meaning to you? Like, what does this title mean? And they're like, it's going to mean I'm legitimate and that people are going to have to respect me. And I'm like, a title, I mean, sure and no. Do you respect you now? Do you think you're legitimate now? Because there's a bunch of people being called doctor who still don't feel confident, who still don't feel legitimate, who still don't get any respect. My first 2 years as a doctor, being a director, people were like, oh, you're so young. Oh, you're so sweet. That the respect didn't automatically come with the letters. And I told them, like, and the same thing I'm telling you now, I went to go get a PhD because I left school. I was like, oh, we get to read all the things and we're going to get tested on all the things. I didn't even know what it meant to have a PhD. I just knew that it meant that it was the highest degree and I get to read all the things and I get to do all the things. It would take me much longer to be like, these letters, this title comes with some sort of reputation. Right, but okay, back to it. I asked my clients that question because I'm like, but do you like what is required to be a doctor? Like, do you like reading articles? Do you like doing research? Do you like writing? They're like, no, I just want the letters. Make it make sense. Why would you do a thing? I'm like, because what's going to happen is you're going to graduate and people are going to be calling you doctor and they're going to expect that you know literature. They're going to expect that you can write articles and books for fun because that's what it means to be a doctor of philosophy. Are you not going to do that? They're like, nope, I just want the fancy title. And so then they get to after graduation and they're sad and depressed because they didn't enjoy any of it. They just wanted what they thought came with the end product. Many of you are like that right now. You're watching all these people on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and you're like, must be so fabulous to have their life. They have hundreds of thousands of followers, and they don't even have to work that hard to get a client. And you think that's what you want. But what you don't realize is the work that's required to get there. What you don't understand is the level of focus you have to create that. Like, that doesn't happen by accident. I know that you think that people just show up on the internet and then they get hundreds of thousands of followers by accident. Is every blue moon somebody has a story where they went quote unquote viral? Sure, but usually those people can't sustain that virality or that amount of attention because they don't have the skills or the muscles. For the people who are consistently having hundreds of millions of followers, they are putting in hours and levels of work that you can't even fathom right now because they love it. You can't show up and do that level of work if you don't love it, or your love for the outcome is so great that you're willing to like grin and bear it until you get there. But I still argue that eventually you're going to get to a place where you get so burnt out that you will never want to do those things again. For the people, as someone, me, I have studied people as they built up their platforms, especially on YouTube. And I can't tell you, the cycle always starts with like, they show up, they were just being their introvert, like silly self. They were just putting out videos for fun. And then they realize maybe they get with a management team because they get to a certain level of followers. So they get with a management team, or they have somebody behind the scenes who is now telling them this is their job and they have to show up and they have to produce this amount of videos every week. And they might do that for a year or two, but it's never enough. That manager or whoever is like, it's never enough. Or the high of the money of the brand deal gets so pressured that after a while, they get to a point of like, okay, I met that requirement. I got relief. But then the pressure gets so great, then they just stop and they just fall. And they don't love it anymore. And so they can't perform at that level anymore because the love has gone and all it is pressure and there's no upside. But to the outside world, their followers are like, but you got hundreds of millions of followers and you make all this money and you live in this nice house. And your life is so great. When I look at it on YouTube or Instagram, why would you stop? Why would you quit? Because they don't love it no more. Because they lost. They know that if they keep putting in the hours and they keep producing the results, they're going to get the outcome. That's a given. But because they don't love it anymore, because they don't have a why anymore, I can't show up and do that. Happiness to me is loving what you do and how you do it. Ain't that how Auntie Maya said it? Loving what you do and how you do it. Success to me is loving what you do and how you do it. The outcome becomes the cherry on top. Like, it's like the sprinkles and whatever other cliches we want to say. Me getting to 1 million will just be the sprinkles. What I am so excited about is who I have to become, what type of work ethic I have to develop, what type of muscles I have to develop, the process of getting there. I love the process, which is why the goal is so big. I was talking to my team, what was that, a couple of weeks ago? We did like an all-team training, and I was like, yeah, it's $1 million. Now, they're also used to my ridiculousness, that they're like, okay, girl, you let's go. I'm like, yeah, why not? We have everything we need to get there. The question on the table is, who do we need to become to use the things that we already have to get to this goal? Combined on this team is millions of dollars of education, professional development, so many hundreds of years of experience. You mean to tell me we can't figure it out? We can't figure out how to get to 1 million? We can. It is about who do we have to become as a team and as individuals to get there. Happiness and success to me is about who do you want to become? Why do you want to become that person? And what habits do you need to develop to get there? The end outcome is not where the success is or where it's not the happiness. That's what the outside world will tell you. The people who don't know no better, the people who don't understand what's required, Yeah, they're going to think that being called a doctor, saying, oh, I have $1 million business is the successful thing. But the real ones, the ones who are in the day-to-day grind, oh, they know it's who you had to become to get there. What habits you had to develop, what you had to start saying no to, what you had to start saying yes to. And the more that you could become consistent at that, the level of confidence and the assuredness that you'll have doing that, that's where the happiness is. At least that's how I define it. I'm becoming who I want to become. I'm doing what I want. I am living my little me, my baby me version, like her wildest dreams. Okay, like every time that I do inner child work, like she's just so proud because she like, we do this. We couldn't even say a sentence in front of nobody, and now we got 2 podcasts. One of the biggest things people love is just listening to me talk. Like her brain is blown. So, in it of itself, does success bring you happiness? No. But I argue the person you're becoming brings you happiness. What does it feel like when you do realize that you've become the person you wanted to become? Freeing is the best way I could say. Like it feels there's a level of freeness that I feel that I just cannot explain. It's the reason why I named this podcast Happy, Free, and Paid. I was talking to a friend at that time, and she said, like, what do you want? What do you want for your clients and your future clients? And I'm like, I just want them to feel happy, free, and paid. I just want them to be happy, free, and paid. She said, that's it. I'm like, that's it. Happy, free, and paid. Because what we think will make us happy, to me, is really translating into, I just want to be free. I want to be free to be my own person. I want to be free to do the things I want to do and not care that other people don't get it. Most of my family and friends don't get it. I don't care, y'all. Like, you watching this on the video, I don't care. Like, I finally gotten to a point where I'm like, yeah, you don't get it. But that's why I'm where I'm at. That's where you are. And I hope you're happy where you are, because I am happy where I am. No, it's everyday rainbows and sunshines. No. Mm-mm. But overall, as a collective, when I take like an average of my days, they are. They are. So that is how I answer that question. Let me know, how do you define success and happiness? Does success make you happy, and what does success feel like for you? Please let me know down below if you're watching on YouTube, or let me know on Instagram, and I'm going to talk to y'all next time.